Good morning. We warmly welcome you all to today's workshop that we are conducting to introduce you to the 3-minute thesis competition of 2021, which is organized by Young Scientists Association of National Institute of Fundamental Studies. This 3MT competition is organized by YSA for the third consecutive year. This competition creates a platform for the graduate students at NIFS to showcase their research in an informative manner to a non-specialist audience within 3 minutes. The aim of this preliminary workshop is to introduce 3-minute concept, provide strategies, and suggestions to prepare a well-organized presentation. Today's session is conducted by Ms. Supuni Dhameera Silva, the winner of University of North Texas 3MT Doctoral Competition 2021. Ms. Supuni Dhameera Silva is a PhD student and a graduate teaching assistant at the Department of Biological Sciences, University of North Texas, USA. She received her bachelor's degree in Environmental Conservation and Management with a first-class honors from the Department of Zoology and Environmental Management, University of Kelaniya, Sri Lanka. In addition, she also followed the 4-year graduate program in chemistry at the Institute of Chemistry of Ceylon and qualified as a graduate chemist. Now, I would like to cordially invite Ms. Supuni Dhameera to begin today's session.
Hello, good morning. Do you hear me? Can I see some faces, please? Do you hear me or not?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, cool. Right, so I will share my screen and start my presentation. So thank you very much for that introduction. So let's start. I don't have a lot to share in the PPT, but I will, okay, you can see my screen, right?
Yes, we can see.
Okay, thank you. So I might not have added a lot in the PowerPoint, but I might be talking a lot regarding the points that I have included in the PowerPoint. So let's start, okay? So thank you for the introduction, but I would like briefly go through. I did not expect the computer to introduce me that well. So I was thinking that I should start introducing myself. So I received my primary and secondary education from the Sirima Bandanayak Vidyalaya, Colombo 7. And then I entered the Institute of Chemistry, Ceylon, to get the graduate chemist qualification. It's BSc Honors Chemistry equivalent qualification. And then I entered the University of Kelaniya from my A-level results to follow the Environmental Conservation and Management degree program, and I graduated with the first class honors there. And then I came to United States for my master's, and I received my master's in biology from Sam Houston State University, USA. And now I'm reading for my PhD. I'm a 4th-year PhD student here at UNT. So I'm the winner of the UNT 2021 3MT competition, which held like 1.5 weeks ago. And with that, I was being selected as the representative of the UNT to participate at the Conference of Southern Graduate Schools 2022 that will be held in North Carolina, US in February 2022. So that's the very basic introduction about myself. So many of you might know me through Facebook, because I'm doing my personal blog called Supi Matahiticha Matamvecha. So that's how a lot of people got to know about me. And I think that's the reason behind this invitation as well, because I talk about my 3MT competition a lot in my blog. So that's me. So let's start with the 3MT concept. This has been started or originated in Australia. This is now it's been a world phenomenon, but still it's originated in in Australia, in the University of Queensland. So when I was reading the history of this competition, I got to know that it's a pretty interesting history. So I thought that I should share that with you all. This 3MT concept has been come through the professor called Professor Lawson. He was the dean of the College of Graduate Schools of the University of Queensland. So at that time, the Queensland was going through a huge drought. So the government has advised their citizens, their residents, to conserve water. So all these residents have been asked to have an egg timer. You know, there is a timer that they set to know the time it takes to boil an egg. It says, like, if it's a soft boil, it takes 3 minutes. If it's a hard boil, it takes 6 minutes. So that in these countries, they use an egg timer. So all the residents have set up an egg timer in their bathrooms to take showers, so that they know when it rings, they know that, okay, now the 3 minutes have gone. So that is the basis behind this 3-minute competition. So this Professor Lawson thought that it would be a cool idea if he asked his students to present their research thesis within 3 minutes. So that's the history of this 3 minutes. So the first competition of 3-minute thesis was held in University of Queensland in 2008 with 160 candidates. And now it's held over more than 900 universities across the globe in 85 countries. So I got to know that in Sri Lanka, there are just 4 institutes that have been registered to conduct 3MT: Rajaraja University, Sri Lankan Academy of Young Scientists. That's why we are here today. Then the University of Kalani and University of Peradeniya. So only 4 universities in Sri Lanka have these registration under 3MT to conduct this particular competition. So that's 3MT. So this 3MT concept gives the students an opportunity to communicate their research outcomes, their concept behind their research, what they're doing in their labs and whatnot, within 3 minutes. So that's the beauty of this competition. Usually in a conference or even in a poster presentation, we get to talk more than 3 minutes, but here we are just given 3 minutes. So it's kind of an elevator speech, but here the difference is we are doing that on the stage. So effectively explaining the research in 3 minutes in a language appropriate to a non-specialist audience. So I heard you've been talking about this in the beginning as well in this program. So yes, the non-specialist audience is a key term in 3MT, because you are supposed to get out of the technical jargon, get out of all the words that is specific to your research field, and just explain that using very simple language. So let's get into this. Let's get into details later on. Then it gives an opportunity to look at your own research through the lens of non-experts. So we all are scientists, so we've been working on our dissertation for at least 2 to 3 years. If you're a master student, we are working for 2 years. If you're PhD students, we are working for 5 years or 3 years. So we have dedicated a lot of our time, effort, and everything for on our thesis. So we have a lot to talk about our thesis. We are proud of our thesis, but that's not the whole point of 3MT. We should be able to communicate our research using a very simple language to a non-specific audience. So we have to get out of the lens of the experts and look at our research through the lens of a non-expert and think, how can I explain this research to somebody who has no idea of what I'm doing? Imagine your mom, imagine your dad, or a school friend who did another degree in commerce or in maybe in arts, in music, or something like that. So they have no clue of what we are doing here in science. If you're in science research, so you have to be able to communicate that to a very lay audience using very simple language. So I will quickly go through the 3MT competition rules. I hope you all are familiar with that. If not, don't worry. So the rules are pretty straightforward in 3MT competition. So you are just given one single static PowerPoint slide to use. So it should not have any animations or any slide transitions and whatnot. Just one static slide is given for your presentation, and that will be displayed behind you throughout your talk. So from the beginning to the end, that thing would be displayed behind. And you're not given any additional electronic media like sound or video files or a pointer and whatnot. So you're not given any additional electronic media. So you just come just with empty hands, maybe with a microphone, and talk. So no additional props. You're not allowed to dress up, have any costumes, any musical instruments or laboratory equipments or whatnot. So I wish it's nice to have at least something in our hand, but that's not the rule in 3MT. So you're not supposed to have anything in your hand when you're talking, doing this 3MT competition. So it's just you and your slide. And the presentations are limited to 3 minutes maximum. That's why it's called 3MT. So you are given just 3 minutes. So if you exceed that 3 minutes, you are being disqualified. So you will realize how hard it is to condense your entire thesis to 3 minutes once you started doing that. So that's really challenging. That's one of the main challenges that I faced, and I will tell you how I overcame those. Then presentations are to be spoken in words. You cannot use any poems or raps or songs, but you can use some quotes if you want, but it should be in spoken words. Presentations are to commence from the stage. That's how it was here, but sometimes there might be just an empty space for you all. It might not be a stage. It might not be an elevated stage, but still there would be an empty space. And you can, in the competition that I participated, we were allowed to use the stage, but I have seen that in some competitions, you are allowed to stay inside a 2x2 square. So make sure that you know that rule, which is followed by your particular school, particular competition, because I think, as far I know, that could differ from school to school, but in our school, we were allowed to use the, what's that? Is there any question? I had somebody talking. You can ask any question, that's fine. No questions? Okay, shall I carry on? Okay. So just check that rule. Usually you are allowed to use the entire stage, but that depends. So presentations are considered to have commenced when a presenter starts their presentation through either movement or speech. So a presentation might not be just words. It might not include just words. It might include your gestures, your postures, and whatnot. So the presentation, the timing would start counting from the very first moment that you start your presentation, either by a movement or a speech. So if you start like or something, the timer starts clicking, right? So you have to be very careful. Maybe you are not ready and you just said and the timer has already started clicking. So that's very disadvantageous. So therefore you have to be very careful when you are starting. So we will get into more details about the start and the end and everything as we go on. Then the addition of the adjudicating panel is the final. So that's the general rule. So the final, the decision of the winner and the whatnot. There are usually 3 awards: the winner, the first runner-up, and the people's choice. So that's a decision of the judges. So these are the basic rules of 3MT. I hope you all are aware of this. If not, you can always just Google, and there are plenty of information about the 3MT, these rules and regulations. So how to get prepared? This is the most important part. I think this is what you guys expected from me. So this is the most important part. It says an 80,000 word PhD dissertation would take 9 hours to present. So in our PhD dissertation defense, we are not given 9 hours. Maybe we are given maybe like an hour, and for the follow-up questions and the defense part, maybe like 2 hours. So it would be like 3 to 4 hours, maybe maximum 5 hours. But here you are given just 3 minutes, right? So that's the challenge, just 3 minutes, but a lot to say. So the first step is drafting and practicing your 3MT oration. You have to get a piece of paper or just sit in front of a computer and type whatever comes to your mind, the important parts in your research. Just type. And then the presenting your 3MT, once you're done with drafting and once you're comfortable with the oration and everything, then you can get into the presentation and then you can make the slide. So let's go one by one. First, the drafting and practicing. So 3MT drafting. First, know your audience and write for your audience. So that's the most important point. I emphasized on this before as well, because you are not talking to a scientific community. This is not a usual regular conference where everybody are experts. Everybody in the audience are experts. No, it's not something like that. Here, the audience is just lay audience, and the judges might be from the community. They might not be even having a degree. So you have to be able to convey your message using a very non-technical words. So yes, we are doing PhDs, we are doing MPhils, we are doing big stuff, big research. But after your 3MT, if somebody in the audience thinks that, oh, that's not a serious research, I understood everything about that, that's your victory, right? That's what you want to do. You don't have to sound very serious, and you don't have to scare the audience showing off that you're doing big science. No, that's not the whole competition. That's not the whole concept behind this competition. So what you have to do is just use very regular, usual language, avoid technical jargon and academic language. Imagine that you're explaining your research to a close friend or a fellow student from another field. That's what I said. Somebody now, since I'm from biology, I would think that I'm explaining my research to somebody who is from finance, or somebody from arts or music or something like that. Or to my mom, to my dad, who had no clue what I'm doing here in my PhD. So imagine that you're explaining your research to a close friend or a fellow student. Then use simple sentences. This is one place that we academics are struggling, because in Sri Lanka, we are always trying our best to perfect our make the sentence perfect. So we always try to use synonyms and make the sentence look more professional, more make the sentence sound more scientific and whatnot. But that's not the case here. We don't have to do that. So we have to use very simple, short sentences. Don't go for long sentences saying this and this and this and this, because this and this and this and this, so that this and this and this. Do not use those. Do not have those conjugations and like long sentences. Just have small sentences so the audience can easily grab what you're saying. Know what you want your audience to take away from your presentation. That should be the start. That's why I said, like, take a piece of paper and write down everything which comes to your mind, so that because when you don't have anything, any resource, maybe no research papers, no notebooks where you noted down your results and whatnot, no methodology, nothing. So you're just sitting with your head and a pen. So what comes to your head might be the most important parts of your research. So that's what you have to tell to your audience. So just take the gist of your research and imagine what you want your audience to know. So know what your audience to take away from your presentation. Highlight the outcomes of your research and desired outcomes. So if your research is not giving the outcomes that you expected, that's okay. You can say that I wish it was like this, but this is how my research presentation looks like. My research outcomes look like. You can say that. And there's one main point that I did not include. since you're given just 3 minutes, you don't have to explain your entire dissertation or entire thesis. You can just pick one chapter, maybe the most important part, maybe the most interesting part to you. You can just pick one chapter and elaborate on that. That's what I did. So I got that tip through like when I was browsing through a lot of other resources. I realized that, okay, I don't have to like tell everything about my research. I will just pick one chapter and elaborate on that. So that's okay, right? So that's one main thing that I did not include, but I wanted to tell you, if you think that your research is so serious, it's so huge that you cannot condense that to 3 minutes by any means, just think what is the most important, most interesting part of my research. Then pick that and elaborate on that. That's the best way to tackle such big research. So highlight your outcomes, I discussed that. Then try to leave the audience with an understanding of what you're doing, why it is important, what you hope to achieve, because they don't care. They don't care what we do, why we are like spending so many years on research. They don't care. They just want to know, okay, like, does she or he make sense? Like, does he sound okay? Like, does he doing something that I can understand? That's where, in the moment that the audience realize that I don't understand what he is doing, they just disconnect. So you don't need that disconnection. You want to keep your audience attached to you throughout your talk, so that avoid technical jargons and just be creative, be simple, and tell them what you're doing, why it is important, and what you hope to achieve. That's it, right? So then tell a story. This is a very good strategy that I used, and I have seen a lot of other competitors have also used this strategy. It says, tell a story, because everybody likes to listen to stories, right? That's why I have so many readers on my blog, because I'm telling them stories. So everybody loves to know what happened next. So they like to have that curiosity and know more. So have that curiosity and develop a story from your research. It's like present your 3MT as a narrative with a beginning, middle, and an end. So it should have a specific beginning. This is the beginning, and this is how I do it, and this is the end. So it should be like very linear and very easy to understand, because you are just given 3 minutes. You don't have a time to go around and come back. So just have a very linear, or I will get to this point again when I was giving you some tricks to give a good start in your talk. So make it simple, but make it narrative so everybody loves to hear it. Then convey your excitement and enthusiasm for your subject. If you're not interested on what you're doing, if you don't show enthusiasm for what you do, the audience would never be enthusiastic to know what you are doing, right? So that we have to show that we are so enthusiastic, we are so much into this research, because when we tell a story also, we always show our emotions. We use our gestures and postures to tell the story. If you have one friend who is good at talking, just think why everybody likes to hear what he or she talks, so that you will know that, okay, that person is getting into the story and saying that story, he or she lives in that story. So that's what you have to do when you're doing the 3MT as well. You have to be there, you have to live there, and you have to show the excitement and enthusiasm so that the audience will get connected to you. If you are very bored, and if you like come and like just start talking, they were like, oh, what is this? I don't want to listen to this. Like, if she doesn't care about what she's doing, I don't want to care at all. So we don't need that attitude. So show your excitement, show your enthusiasm, that you show in the lab as well. So engage curiosity. That's what I said. In stories, there's always curiosity. What happens next? What happens next? What happens next? So we have to make them have that curiosity, so they will keep listening. And have a clear ending. Make sure that it has a very specific beginning and the middle and the end. If your ending is not clear, if your ending is not clean, the audience will get confused. They were like, so what? Is there anything more to tell? Or like, am I missing something? So they would have more questions. So you have to finish your talk very nicely with a nice statement. We will get to that in future slides. So have a very clear ending so the audience will not get confused. Okay. So use a hook or a grabber. This is the start. Use a hook or the grabber. This is regarding the start of your talk. So a hook, we use hooks to catch fish, right? So likewise, you have to use a hook to get your audience and like keep your audience to you, right? Not letting them go, like have them to you. So that's the attention grabber. That's the attention taker. So if you use a hook or an attention grabber at the very beginning of your talk, you make sure that everybody is listening to you. That's what you want. You don't want anybody else to just like anybody to dream, right? You want everybody to listen to what you're saying. So use a good hook. So there are various types of hooks. It's a presentation of opening tactic that immediately captures your audience attention. So maybe you can start with the story. It goes back to what we discussed before. Start with the story. So you can say, once upon a time, so and so and so and so and so and so. So they were like, oh, it's a story. So they would like to hear what happened, you know? So start with a story. You can narrate using a story, or you can ask a question. So you can ask like, have you seen this and this and that? Or what if the dinosaurs come back, or something like that? You know, if you're doing something related to evolution or something, you can just say, what if dinosaurs come back? So the audience would like really go to that place and they would think like, oh, what if they come back? Like, so that, you know, like just make them be engaged with you always. So have you, what if, such questions are great hooks or attention grabbers. Then you can ask them to imagine a scenario. You can say like, imagine that there is no sunlight for 48 hours, or there's no sunlight for 1 month. You can just start, if it's relevant to your research, right? I'm just giving examples. So you can start with a scenario like that. So the audience would start thinking, oh my goodness, if sunlight is not there, what would happen? What would happen? The plants would die, the animals would die. So it will start like coming to their mind, right? That's what you want. Get and have an attention grabber. Or you can request the participation. You can say like, close your eyes and do this. You can do something like that, right? It's not guaranteed that the audience would obey, that audience would do what you ask them to do, but you can try, right? It's kind of a risky step, I would say, because we don't know whether the audience would really like to do what you're saying, but that is also a good attention grabber. Or if you watch my talk, we will be watching that at the end of the PowerPoint. So everybody like appreciated that that grabber, that hook, because I just fooled them. I just came and I said that I'm not ready for this competition, and I started like walking out. So because that I showed that I'm not prepared to do this talk. So everybody was like, what's wrong? Like, why is she walking back? Then I came and I said like, no, that's what that will not happen if you were not prepared, and what so and so forth. Because my research is on academic preparation. So I linked that to my research directly. There was a direct link so that I used that hook. Not everybody could use that hook. So just be creative and think a nice hook which belongs to you, which is unique to you, so that even though the audience does not remember anything that you said, they would remember you from that hook, right? They might not remember anything, but oh, that girl, that boy. So we need that. So it's worth spending some time on getting this hook straight. So like figuring this hook, figuring out a nice hook for your talk. So it's worth spending some time. So I would highly recommend you to have a very nice hook. Then use clear speech transitions. Speech transitions smooth over the boundary between two ideas. When you're talking, if you want to move from one idea to the other idea, you can use nice transitions. So there are various ways to do the transition. So this reveals the relationship between the words that you just spoken and the words that you are going to speak, right? So that makes the link between these two sentences. Those are the transitions. So if you can see this picture, it shows you the start and the end. In between, you have a lot of transitions. So the bridge is made on top of that transition. So that's how I see these transitions. It helps you to navigate through your speech. For example, above all, mainly, especially, particularly, also, besides, coupled with, following this, further, likewise. So you have like we can use lot of such transition words. Use those transition words to get from one idea to the other idea, one concept to the other concept. And also, I have written this in green color because that's important. So when in any research, even in a research paper or in a poster or anything that we present, we usually give the background information, right? We usually give the concept behind our research, and then only we explain our research. So there's a reason why we are doing this research. So first we have to explain that, maybe through a hook, maybe through a story. Somehow we have to explain them why we are doing this. After we explain that, when you start talking about your research, when you're going to start talking your research, you can start this sentence. There should be a sentence like this somewhere in your research, in your talk, like this is where my research comes in, or something similar in your talk. There should be a line in this, not in the same format, but which gives the same idea, because you first tell them the background story, what led you to do this research, and then you say, okay, now this is the problem, and this is where my research comes in. For my research, I'm doing this and this and this and that, and these are my findings and whatnot, right? So that's a very important must that you should do in your talk when you're drafting. Then you can conclude your speech, have a summary to restate the importance of your work. Complete the loop. So I told you to start a story. So if you start a story, you should end your story. If you ask a question, you should give the answer to the question at the end. So complete the loop. Do not leave it empty. Do not leave it hanging. Just complete the loop. Yes, you ask a question, you tell this and this and this and that and what you're doing and what not, and then hook it back to the beginning. So that would be a very nice ending. If a story was started, end it with a very nice ending saying that this is why. Always hook that back or link it back to your start. Then make it clear that you're done. That's what I said. Like if you're not done, the audience will be just confused. They would not know whether you're done or whether there's something more, whether they are missing something and whatnot. So we don't want them to get confused. So that make it clear that this is it, so that they know that, okay, now we have to stop clicking the clock, right? And when drafting, we are still talking about the drafting, the talk. So when drafting, one important thing that we have to pay attention is the word count, right? Because the word count, even if you put the word is or and, those are just words counted as words, right? So word count is really, really, really important when drafting such talks, because once you start doing, you will understand what I'm saying. It does wonders. If you can just cut off maybe 20 to 30 words, it would save you like many seconds, right? So I found this statistics from the National Center for Voice and Speech. It says an average English speaker in US speaks 150 words per minute. So we are not English speakers, we are not native speakers, so that sometimes our speed might be faster than their speed, because I find myself as a fast speaker compared to my American friends. It depends. Some might be like really slow speakers. So you have to pick your pace. You have to know, you should know whether you are a fast speaker or a slow speaker. And based on that, you have to adjust your the word limit. And also, if you think that you speak too fast, you have to slow down. That's one thing that I had to practice a lot, because right now also I'm trying my best to talk really slow, to slow down my pace, because this is not the usual speed that I talk, even in English or in Sinhalese. So if you're a fast speaker, you have an additional thing to work on, that you have to reduce your speed of talking, because the audience is anyway, because the audience is a lay audience. They are not scientists. They might not be as enthusiastic as you are to listen to your research. So if you speak really fast And if they just lose their attention, they would not come behind you and pick up. They would just like let it go and just stay. So we don't need that to happen. So that to keep that attention, to keep that connection, always make sure that you speak slowly. So it says that the average speakers would speak 150 words. So I would say just have it 220 words maybe. So 120 into 3 is 360. So if you can get your entire talk to 360 words, that's the best. If you can make it like lesser, the best. Don't go above, like, that's my advice. That's the advice that I got from the lead judge who was a Toastmasters who trained us for the 3MT at UNT. So he was, my speech was initially like 400 and something words, and he was in my preliminaries. So he was like, no, you are going to cut down many of your words so that you can, you have time to show your emotions and have some gestures and postures. So therefore, pay attention to the words and go back to what I said. Make it simple. So if you have a very long, lengthy sentence, if you cut because therefore all those words, you can like make individual sentences by getting those conjugations out, so that it will save you some words, right? There are a lot of tricks and tricks to reduce the word number. So likewise, just target to 360 words. That's my advice. And once your script is ready, so it would take a while to get to this point because you will be writing and you will be just rewriting, and you will be saying it loud using your timer, and you will realize that no, I talk too fast, or maybe I'm too slow, so I have to speed up, and I just I cannot finish off telling this entire paragraph within 3 minutes. So you have to like cut more. So this is it's a loop, right? You will just go, it's a circle. You will just go around and around and around. And then once finally, when your script is ready, read it loud and get to the point where you have the sentences memorized, to the point where you'll never forget it. So this is one thing that you have to do, because you remember in childhood, we were taught some songs, and we still remember those, right? Till date, we remember those songs because we've been told that over and over again, and so that it has stuck into our mind. Likewise, if you're participating in 3MT, you are just given 3 minutes, no matter how fluent you are in English. If you just miss one word, and if you try to compensate that word using your vocabulary, that's not going to work. I tried, that's not going to work. Right, I tried that in my practice sessions. So I just forget some words, and I know the idea behind that. So I try to just gather some words and explain the same idea, but that's not going to work. So therefore, you have to come to that point that you can memorize, you can tell the entire script, like by heart the script. That's one thing. Okay, so that's about the 3MT drafting. Do you have any questions? So we have like finished more than half of the presentation. Do you have any questions so far, or should I finish off the entire presentation and then let's get into the questions? What do you suggest?
You can finish the presentation and finally we can get to the question.
Okay, all right. So then the 3MT presentation, this is about when you're presenting. Now you're ready, your script is ready, you have by hearted that, you know that you don't need any paper to say your oration. Now the body language. So when you're presenting your 3MT, you have to stand straight and confidently, because this is your research. Nobody else knows about your research or what you're going to talk about than you do. This is common to any topic, any presentation that you're doing, because for presentations, we have read, we have made the slides, we have gone through the words and the sentences and whatnot over and over again. So we have to be confident enough about our content. Nobody in the audience know to the level that we know. You have to build up that confidence. So stand straight and have that confidence. Hold your head up and make the eye contact. So because eye contact is really important to have that connection. In my preliminaries, that's one of the comments that I received from my judges, because I kept looking at their eyes, like I kept looking at the audience, like in circles. So there are many ways to keep the eye contact. There's no need to look at each and every person in the audience. So either you can look at the audience in the letter W. So you start from one end in the audience and you come like this, you go like this, you come like this, and you go like this. Or maybe the letter M, you come from here, you go here and come front and go back like that. So it could be a W or an M or however you like. Just make sure that you look at the entire audience. If this is done in person, if this is done virtually, it's just the camera and you, so you can just look at the camera and just speak. So it's very easy if it's virtual. Never turn your back to the audience. No, look at the slide. So this is one of the big mistakes that I have seen in the videos that I saw, and I talk about this with my with my judge, with my trainer, and he said, like, never look at the slide, even if that means 180 seconds, right? Yeah, 180 seconds. So why do we spend at least 2 seconds to look at a slide that we already know what's in there, right? We don't have to look there. Do you hear what I'm saying? Because I got a message saying my internet connection is unstable. Did I break? Do you hear what I'm saying?
Yes, now the line is clear.
Okay, all right. Right, sorry about that. So you don't want to spend at least 2 seconds to look at the slide that you already know what's on it. So just, if you want, you can just point it out, you know where it is, you can point it out, but do not look back. So that will break the connection that you have. Now, this sounds like very simple, but when you get into the stage and when you actually start talking, these are the things that we automatically do. Sometimes we want to avoid having eye contact, look at the slide as if we are like really looking at that. But no, that's we are like really looking at that. But no, that you need to take after you talk. So within that, it's keep looking at the audience. If you want to refer to the slide, just refer to the slide, but don't look back. And if you are walking also, that's another thing. So if this is a in-person competition, if you're walking, don't turn your back. So you are turning just like maybe 45 degrees, so that if you're walking this way, you're not turning back to the other side of the audience. And if you're walking this way, you're not turning back to the other side of the audience. So just do not turn 90 degrees, just turn 45 degrees and walk on the stage if you have to walk. And participate practice how you will use your hands and move around the stage. So this is one thing that I learned from the Toastmasters speeches. So they always talk with open palms. So look at your palm and just imagine which side is more appealing to you. Is it this side or this side? Right? Usually the more appealing side is this side. So if you're showing this side always, that means like you're hiding something. You don't want to hide anything. Just like have open palms. That shows the confidence. That shows that you know what you're talking. You have the authority of what you're talking. So that's one main thing that the judges are looking for when judging. This is not just for 3MT, for any presentation. Try to have open palms. And purposeful gestures. Purposeful gestures comes with practice. So you have to know where to use this, where to use this, where to use this. So you have to, don't just like use these hands and just keep talking. No, you can do that in other talks. If it's like maybe like 15 minutes or 1 hour, you can just do that. But if it's 3MT, use purposeful gestures. Know where to raise your hand, where to point your fingers and all those. Also, because I said point fingers, this is one thing that I learned in public speaking. Never point your finger to the audience because they will feel offended. These are just small tricks, okay? Never just do this unless you want them to feel offended, right? If you're referring to the audience, you can always refer to them like this, not like this, right? Or you can refer to them like this. So these are like little small things, but we do that unintentionally. That's why I'm saying, like, just pay attention. So if you practice more, you will understand what this means. Then the vocal range and the pace. We discussed about this like briefly before. Speak clearly and use variety of your voices. So you can talk really fast. If it's like a very alarming thing, you can like talk really fast and really loud. Or if it's something that you're worried about, that you are caring about, you can like use a soft and slow voice and something like that. So everybody is not having the same vocal range. Everybody is not having the same pace. We discussed about the pace before, but the range. So if you look at this graph, see the volume and the pitch, volume versus pitch. So there's a difference between speaking and shouting, but the difference is really small, right? If you're in high pitch and high volume, you might be shouting. Even though we think it's speaking, right? Somebody else might hear it as shouting. So that we have to be very careful that we are in the speaking zone. We are not singing. So don't worry about that, because we are not going to those high pitches like as if you are singing. But have the voice, have your voice controlled. Use a nice pace and nice tones. So do not rush, find your rhythm. This also comes with practice, because you know where to go fast, where to go slow, where to talk loud, where to talk soft. So do not rush, find your rhythm. That comes with the practice. Then remember to pause at key points, because you have to give your audience the time to think, to grasp what you just said. So remember to pause. If you just said an alarming thing or maybe an alarming statistics, just give them a split of a second to understand what you just said, and then continue. Then give the audience time to think about what you just said. That also comes with the key points. Then I named this 3 R's: revise, record, and receive feedbacks. Revise means you revise your 3MT, the script over and over again, so that you will find more places to take the words off. You can like make it shorter. So proofread your 3MT presentation by reading it aloud. So if there are some places where you get, tongue twisters, there might be some tongue twisting sentences. Just change those. We don't need tongue twisters in the 3MT presentation. We want it to be as simple as possible. So get rid of those tongue twisting sentences and have it simple. Get rid of the complicated sentences. So that comes with the proofreading. Read your presentation and record and listen to your presentation to hear where you pause, speak too quickly to get to get it right. This is one thing that I did, and once you record your voice, you will understand how awful it sounds, because now we are listening to our voice by being inside us, right? But when we record, it's like somebody else is talking to us. So the voice sounds so different sometimes. And we might think that we are talking perfectly, but it doesn't sound perfect when you record. So it's very easy to pick the places, pick the positions where you go too fast, where you are not being so clear in your pronunciations, where there are some tongue twisters. You can easily identify all these by recording your voice and listening to that. And this will help you to memorize your talk as well, because you're as if you're listening to a song and just memorizing the lyrics just without any effort, right? Effortlessly. Likewise, this will help you to memorize your talk effortlessly if you listen to that over and over again. Work on your weaknesses and exploit your strengths. So if you understand, oh, I did this really nice, so just exploit that. If you think that, oh, I can just talk really slow and it's very soothing. So if you know that your soft voice is very soothing, use that strength and have that as a hook throughout the talk to have your audience to you. Then present in front of friends, family, and ask for their feedback. This is something that I did. I talked in front of some of my friends from US, so that they were being very helpful with making my pronunciation right. And I talked with some of my Sri Lankan friends. So I got feedbacks from both from native and non-native speakers, and I build up on my pronunciation. So I think there's nothing much for you all to worry about the pronunciation, because not everybody are non-native speakers, but for us, for those who are doing 3MT in other countries, we have to compete with the native speakers, so that we have to be very careful that we are using the correct pronunciations, because if we don't pronounce it well, and if the audience doesn't understand it well, we would lose points. So, but it's always good to have good pronunciation, so pay some attention to that, and send your recording to friends, family, and ask for their feedback. So present in front of them, take a video call and present in front of them, and send your send your audio recording as well, so that they can listen to that and tell that, oh, there's a little problem in this sentence. I did not understand what you exactly said. Maybe you can slow it down, something like that. You will get good feedbacks based on the friend that you're sending. So pick 1 or 2 friends and get their help. So the 3MT slide, this is the last thing that I'm talking today. So the 3MT slide, so you're just given 1 slide. So I see a slide could be of 3 types, right? It could be either enhancing your presentation, it could be either decreasing or destroying your presentation, or it could be just neutral, right? I'm happy to have a slide which enhances my presentation, or just be neutral my presentation, rather having one which destroys my presentation. Right? So pay attention to that, because this is the last thing that we would start working on. We've been very busy with making the script and by-hearting that and getting all the gestures and postures right and whatnot. And we will pay the least attention to the slide, but that is something that would be displayed behind us throughout our talk. So we have to pay enough attention to that as well. So an engaging visual presentation can make or break your oration. So we don't want the slide to break our talk. We want it to make our talk. So that pay attention to that. Make sure your slide is legible, clear, and concise. So do not have complicated graphs. Do not have complicated charts and whatnot. Just be simple as possible. So my 3MT, the slide had just cartoons. I did not use any big graphs and charts and whatnot. I just use cartoons, because everybody likes cartoons and everybody likes to look at cartoons. So that's what I did. So less is more. That's very important. That is relevant to the talk as well, not just to the PowerPoint, the slide. It is relevant to the talk as well. Less is more. Avoid jargon. Avoid complicated sentences, avoid complicated pictures, have it less. Then personal touches. So this comes, this adds the uniqueness to your presentation, because now, for example, one of the students in the competition that I competed had, she was doing some research related to autism, and her kid is autistic. So she has put a picture of her kid in the PowerPoint slide, and she was referring to her. So it has a personal touch, you know. So likewise, have a personal touch if it's possible. Maybe it's not possible. It depends on the research that we do. So, but try to have a personal touch. So it will always it will help the audience to remember you through the personal touch. Now, I don't remember anything that girl was talking about on that stage, but I remember her personal touch. I remember she was talking about autism and her kid. That's all I remember. So likewise, just have a personal touch. It's good to have. Then complement your oration. So the slide could complement. I said it could enhance, it could destroy, or it could do nothing. So I would rather have something which do nothing or enhance than having something which doesn't do, destroys my presentation. So it should, if it can complement your presentation, that's great. So that's the last one about the slide. So I have some example slides, and I'm not going to tell you which is good and which is bad, because all these slides are made by graduate students across the world. So I don't think that it's ethical. As another grad student, I don't think that it's ethical to comment on their slide. Who am I to comment on somebody else's slides, right? So therefore, I would just show you the slide, and it's up to you to decide. I just have 4 slides, not much. So it's up to you to decide whether it's a good slide or a bad slide, right? Now, no matter whether this is a in-person competition or virtual competition, the slide is the slide, right? That's all what you get. So we have to be very creative, and we have to be very very sharp when making the slide to make it very legible, clear, and concise. Remember the word legible and clear. Legible and clear. It should be readable and clear. So this is one slide. This is a 3MT slide that I found online. So it's up to you to decide whether this is a good slide or a bad slide, whether you can understand what's given here within 3 minutes while listening to the talk, right? That's the important thing. You're not just paying attention to this. You are trying to grasp this while listening to the talk of the speaker. So this is another slide by another person, another student. So she or he is talking about some coffee cultivation can shade improve the coffee yield and quality. So this is one. And this is another one. Can you hear me now? Development and regrowth of cells for hearing. So I think she or he is trying to reverse the hearing loss. So this is one slide, and this is the last one. So I'm not going to tell you whether it's good or bad, whether this is good or bad, whether this is good or bad. It's up to you to decide. So these are just examples. So I have some example videos, but I'm just having 4 minutes because I was asked to do the presentation within complete it within an hour. So do you want me to play this right now, or can I just drop these in the chat, or how do you want me to do? This would take 12 minutes to play all this. And I have my video and my award ceremony if you want to watch. And I'm open to questions as well. What do you think?
It's a small request. Supuni, it's good if you play your video.
Okay, my video. Okay. Right. So let me stop sharing and let me go to YouTube because I don't have my own video. This is a compile of all the videos. So I have to go to the YouTube, and I have the timestamp so I can easily get there. Okay. Right, so I will share my screen again. Where is it? Where is it? It's this one. Okay, do you see the screen?
Yes.
Okay, so this is the speaker before me. So I will. Okay, she's done, and I'm next. Can you hear it? Yes, right?
Sound. We can't hear the sounds.
What can I do? Because I can hear it. So.
Hello, you can stop sharing, then again try to share those things. Then you can see in the bottom, share the audio when you press share.
Okay, I will screen share. I will go to YouTube and I will start sharing. And what else to do?
When you click share button, then you can see there's a statement in the bottom, you have to put a tick when you press share.
I don't see such. I just get a green square saying share the screen. That's it.
Yeah. Click
that.
I
share sound. Okay. Oh, that's Thank you.
Welcome.
Okay, right. Okay, they're not talking. Let's see whether you hear.
As stated by
You
one
hear
of the
this,
most
right?
ignored
Yeah,
hip-hop.
all good, all good.
Okay, cool.
Fun.
Thank you.
I conceptualized the essence of play, also known as the theory of homo ludens, as well as the innovations of the players in Chinese hip-hop. Ultimately, Chinese hip-hop is
Supuni Dhameera, Silva, of the College of Science in the Department of Biological Sciences. The title of the presentation is The Effects of Prior Informal STEM Experiences on Undergraduate STEM Identity.
I feel totally unprepared. I don't think I can do this anymore. Sorry. That may be what you felt if you entered college unprepared. Many students enter college feeling confused and insecure about their academic preparation. They feel that, I'm not ready. I can't do this. So some of them give up and drop out. They don't complete their freshman year. It gets worse. The dropout rates for students in science, technology, engineering, and math are the highest of any other college major. These majors, science, technology, engineering, and math, are known as STEM majors. STEM. STEM education is the key to a country's economic growth. It's critical that we reduce STEM major dropouts. Thankfully, there are some factors that can indicate college STEM success. For example, formal factors such as students' high school GPA, their high school rank, have been shown to act as indicators of college STEM success. There are some informal factors as well, which enhance success by increasing their confidence. That's where my research comes in. My research looks at the effects of prior informal STEM experiences, such as science camps, STEM clubs, on undergraduate STEM identity. STEM identity? STEM identity is developed by knowing and using science. It is less a question of what you see in me, but more a question of how I see myself. STEM identity plays a powerful role in academic success. In my research, I'm asking UNT STEM freshmen 2 questions. 1, what informal STEM experiences did you have before you joined UNT? And 2, how long were you involved in these experiences? Then I'm measuring their STEM identity in terms of their academic expectations and their perceived competence in STEM. I'm expecting my research to reveal that students with more informal STEM experiences to have stronger STEM identities than those who've had little to no such experience. In the words of Benjamin Franklin, by failing to prepare, you are preparing to fail. But wait, informal STEM experiences can provide you the preparation that Benjamin Franklin prescribed. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, that's me. I would not say that's the best talk in the world, but I tried. So I'm planning to revise on my talk and like add more content to it for the next round, because that's going to be a huge round. So I feel that this is not having enough content. Yeah, so that's what I said. You can pick one part and elaborate on that, and then you would get second thoughts. Oh, this sounds too simple. But if the audience thinks that that's simple, that I understood that, that's your victory. That's what you want. You don't want to show off that you are a big scientist and just scare the entire audience. So you want them to like say eye to eye. So do you want to see the award ceremony as well? Or do you want to watch another, like a nice video of another? What do you say? or we can just wrap up.
Hi, Ms. Supuni. I'm Danushki
Yes.
speaking. Supuni, I have a small question, but firstly, congratulations on your achievement.
Yeah, thank you.
And thank you so much for this session. So my question is actually irrelevant to the content, but I have this in my head. So it's like in most public speaking platforms, we have seen that they dim or off the lights which are at the audience. But if that doesn't happen, so some speakers might get tensed by seeing the audience, right? Because we tend to get into judgment of our performance by seeing the expressions of the audience. So do you have any tips to overcome that, to be less disruptive on what you see?
Yes, that's why I said, even though I ask you all to maintain the eye contacts, we don't have to like really look at their eyes. We don't have to really talk to them. We just have to show that we are looking at them so that they don't get disconnected. But it's good if you can, you know, like you can like maintain the eye level and look far and look front, you know, like just keep going back and forth. You don't have to pay attention to each and every person, but make sure that you're not looking at one single person. That's something that we should not do. So other than that, yes, if the audience if the audience is not dimmed, yes, I understand that the speaker would feel tense. So that's the only thing that I could think of right now. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, okay. Thank you so much.
Because I cannot ask you to build confidence, right? That's not going to help within like a very short period of time. I can like easily say, like, have confidence. Why are you being scared of the audience? Just, you know what you're talking about. So those things would not work for everybody. So that's the only thing that I can tell right now, because public speaking is a skill, I believe, that you have to work on.
Yeah, just a follow-up question. In such platforms, do they give the choice to the speaker if they want to, you know, dim the lights or?
No, because these things are recorded now at UNT. This was recorded, so they are not having that facility to change everything from contestant to contestant, right? So therefore, they have fixed cameras from every angle, and since this was live telecasted, that might be the case. So we were not given that chance to ask whether we want the audience to be like in dark or not. No, I don't think that would be the case.
Okay, thanks.
Any more questions? You can ask in Sinhalese as well, no problem. I know we have some. Students from US who are not English speaker, not Sinhalese speakers, but that's fine. If you want, we can talk in Sinhalese so that I can translate. Not a problem at all.
Excuse me, Ms. Supuni.
Yes.
Can I ask something from you?
Yeah.
First of all, congratulations for your victory.
Thank you.
And the thing is, I want to ask, then we are in simply and undergraduate level, we are just preparing for vivas and all those stuff. But what do you thinking about the timing? I mean, you have to practice not to sharp 3 means we have to practice less than that time. What do you think about that?
So that's a very good question. You can aim to have 2 minutes and 40 seconds. That's the desired the time. That's the preferred time. So that because on stage, usually you go above what you planned, because sometimes you might forget some words. Like we don't want that to happen, but sometimes you might forget words, or you might feel tense, and you know, like sometimes the things doesn't come to your mind in the same speed. So sometimes it's good to have a little window for you to like go back and forth. So I highly encourage to have like 2 minutes and 40 seconds, so that if you feel comfortable on stage, you can put more, more tone into your talk and like do it like smoothly, like go in a slower pace. So you have time to make little mistakes that the audience doesn't realize, but you yourself realized, and just bounce back. So the best is to have 2 minutes and 40 seconds. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, it's very clear. Thank you very much.
Yeah. What else?
Supuni, Rashmi is asking to share your video. I mean, the preemptive, the winning moments that you are final.
My video is shared on my page. Yeah, it's shared on my page. Do you want me to like drop it on the chat?
Yeah, which is good, I think. Then she can bear it.
So this is from the 15th minute, 40th second. So, okay, so yeah. What else?
And to the audience, if you have any questions, please type that as in the chat box. Then I can read it out.
Yeah,
if anybody has questions, or else you can unmute yourself and ask your question.
No problem. The language is not a problem. We can talk in Sinhalese as well, and I will translate that. No problem. Mukut ප්‍රශ්න නැද්ද?
So sorry for interrupting, but I have something else to ask. When we preparing the speech, do they really, they concern about the professionalism? Using terminologies in the research papers?
No, get rid of that academic jargon. No, they are not interested on the terminology. They don't know if we say that, how would I say? If you say that a chloroplast, right? Just a simple biological term, chloroplast. The general audience would not understand what the chloroplast is. You have to give the definition of the chloroplast, right? So do not think about the technical jargons. Just be as simple as possible. That's why I wanted to show you some videos that I will share those. Well, I will drop those here so you can have a look. You can just copy this and like paste somewhere and like watch later, maybe. So I hope this will work. Yeah. So here I think the Rosanna Stevens, yes, Australian National University, Rosanna Stevens. Or is it Emily Johnston? I don't remember which one. So she had a blank slide. Her slide was blank, just white. And she nicely linked that to her talk because she was talking about, she's Australian, so she's Aborigine. So she was talking about how the colonizers came and how they covered their uniqueness through the whiteness. So she's saying that there are different pictures behind this white big rectangular, but you don't see it because it's covered by just whiteness. So she was like nicely going back and forth between the slide and her talk by just using a blank slide. I found it like really interesting. Now, I might not remember anything else that she said, but I remember that, okay, her slide was blank and she had something to do with whiteness. So that's what we have to aim for. What else?
And someone from the audience asking you to share the video link, the slides with them. So would you mind to share that with them?
How would I do that?
Can, as NIFS side, we can share that, we can put that whole video into, we can post that in a website.
Yeah.
So we'll do like that then.
Yeah, so if you post this video, they anyway get the
The slides. They can get the
slides
slides
as well.
Yes.
Yeah. If they want the slides, I'm happy to share that as well. That's not like, it's not an intellectual property, so I'm happy to share that. Not a problem.
Okay, then thank you.
So the other thing is, now since we all are in grad school, since we all are very so much into research, and like we have teaching duties as well on top of research, so not many students want to go an extra mile in competing in these competitions. That's one thing that, you know, we have to take advantage of. Now, you all are here because you care, but how many of them are not here, right? So take the advantage of that, and that will help you to, you know, at least being a finalist is something. In my stories also, I said all I wanted to be is to be a finalist, so I can have that on my CV saying that I'm a UNT 3MT finalist, but I ended up winning the first place. So that's what I said. We don't know our capacity, our capability, what we can do unless we get onto the stage and like do it. So not many grad students need to do this because they are busy with some other things. So get that opportunity and use it.
Since there are no more questions, I would like to thank Ms. Supuni Dhameera for your wonderful and enlightening speech. Thank you very much. And I'm sure that the audience received a good knowledge about the 3MT concept, and you provided us with a lot of interesting tips and facts to prepare for the competition. Once again, I would like to sincerely thank you, Miss, for accepting our invitation and taking out the time from your busy schedule and enlightening us enlightening us with the knowledge. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much for giving me this. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I thought you finished. I want to say that I want to thank the NIFS and also especially Maheshika Peraki for inviting me. I forgot to mention that, so I wanted to tell you that. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I'm so sorry.
No, thank you, Riz. Before we wind up the session, I would like to remind our NIFS colleagues to register for the 3MT competition before 10th of December. Thank you all of you for your participation. Have a good day.